Hello, welcome to Beyond the Yonder, Blue Yonder's podcast, where we talk about all things innovation and consumer research and try and share with you the latest thinking and trends within the industry. My name is Richard. I'm the Managing Director of Blue Yonder and really happy to lead a conversation today focusing on Pangborn conference. So Pangborn was a couple of weeks ago now, back in August. If you were there, hopefully this will act as a bit of a summary and a recap of some of the things that you learned, and you hear some of that coming back to you. And if you weren't there, hopefully it's a good summary of all of the trends and the many conversations which took place over what was a 4-day conference. So there's a lot to get through. Would you like to introduce yourselves quickly?
I'm Ellie. I'm Operationals Manager. I oversee all the operational side of projects.
Hi everybody, I'm Kate. I head up the R&D team at Blue Yonder, and that involves all of our quantitative technical product testing across the globe.
Thank you. Just before we get into all the many research topics, how did you find it as a conference?
Really good.
Yeah, really good. I think this is probably our third Pangborn now, so we're getting really used to it, and I think Philadelphia was a great city, absolutely great city to have it in.
It was all of our first time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really fast paced and there was a nice mixture of learning and then networking, so it was a really good opportunity to share learnings but also see what other people are saying in the industry.
I think we probably have to start with AI because just so many talks and so many stands focused on it. What were the big takeaways from you on where market research and consumer research is with AI at the moment?
I think for me, it's very much about people are still learning. I don't think anyone's quite got there yet. There was a lot of talk of rubbish in, rubbish out. So being really careful with how you use AI and the right time to use it, the right place to use it. People still experimenting with platforms and different ways of using AI. So all the talks I went to, there was a kind of like an example of how they used AI to get to where they wanted to be. But there's still very much a human element as well within that.
And I think there's not one size that fits all yet with AI. There's not necessarily this works and this is going to work forever. It's still applying it to where it's needed, or where, like Kate says, the human element is still needed to drive it. But yeah, I agree. I didn't see anything where it's at the forefront of what everybody is doing.
So what were the best case studies that you remember in some of the talks?
There was a talk on using bots for our IDIs, which I really liked because I think there's a time and a place for that. The argument there was actually consumers will be a little bit more honest, a bit freer if they think they're talking to a bot versus talking to somebody face to face. You could argue that, well, the probing's not there and you're not going to get the emotion out of it, but actually the examples they showed were really, really good, because I think especially if you're talking about maybe a sensitive subject, in this case I think it was bad breath, but if you're talking about a sensitive subject, actually you probably are going to be a little bit more open and a bit more, I'm not talking to a human being, so I can actually say what I want. So I was really surprised by that example. I thought it was great, and I think there's maybe project by project is whether that's going to work or not, but great example. And also quite often on some projects you've got 30, 40 IDIs. Well, that makes that possible. It creates efficiencies because you've not got a human doing it, and it also creates efficiencies from your back end of your reporting analysis as well. So it means that you can scale up your IDIs because you've got the AI doing it.
Yeah, so we often talk about the two uses of AI, like one for efficiency, doing things quicker, saving money, and the other for finding out things that you wouldn't otherwise have known. I think that IDI example actually does cover both, because it is more efficient. You can speak to dozens, if not hundreds of people overnight, but also that ability of the robot to probe and not have interviewer bias. There were definitely things that came out that you wouldn't otherwise have got, especially in sensitive topics. We also, I remember you were talking about learning about netography. Do you want to tell us a bit about that? What did you learn?
Well,
new buzzword for you?
I think it's a bit of a buzzword and I'm still getting my head around it, but essentially ethnography online, but netography is you looking at what's going on online and gathering insights from communities and well, basically everything that's going on online, and using AI to do that as well. So I think that'd be brilliant as well. Like before you start a project, or even before you start a proposal, like what's the information? A bit like we were doing with web scraping, but yeah, netography is the first time I'd heard that.
Yeah, as a phrase.
Yeah,
It's cool. One of the case studies that stuck with me, it was an academic one. I'm really sorry, I can't remember the guy's name. But it was looking at creating sensorial descriptions from the ingredients list. So the university had done some brilliant work. So if I had created an engine that if we put into it the exact ingredients, the weights and measurements of what goes into a brownie, you'll get generated by AI a beautiful and detailed sensorial description down to the scientific elements of it, mouthfeel, all of the real fine detail of it, and it will tell you exactly what you're going to get. And you could change the ingredients and it will change what you're going to get. So it was working perfectly as long as it was within the realms of what AI was comfortable and recognized. Then he tried it with, I think it was worm meal and various other not just disgusting, but just completely left field ingredients. And because the AI just had no frame of reference, there was no data on the internet about whether worms are good in brownies or not, it just ignored it. So it was still generating beautiful sensorial descriptions, despite the fact that there was some clearly probably quite disgusting ingredients in there.
Yeah.
And I came back and explained that to James, our AI expert, and he just said, yeah, that will happen because it's about what's already out there on the internet. If it's not already out there, all the AI is doing is taking a probability-based punt, like it's having a guess what's the most likely thing that would happen. So that is literally where humans have to come in. Like the human has to sense check that, I think.
And I love that people were talking about experiences that went really well, but experiences that didn't go so well as well. So making sure everyone's aware that this, like you were saying, this isn't perfect yet. We're all still experimenting and things might not go right.
It's the strength of the conference in that there's businesses and there's also academics.
Yeah.
And it's like the academics are there to keep us all accountable. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of people in the academic institutions that are really excited and using it as well. But yeah, they're also saying, hold on. If I even think about like a year ago, there was the Eurosense conference. At Eurosense, I think I would have said that everybody is in like play and trial mode. So really being encouraged to have a go. I think I noticed a change in that now, in that there's now a spectrum, and there are definitely some companies that are actually now really cautious. Like they've had the play and they've realised that there are certain dangers and risks, so data management risks, and accuracy risks, like the risk of making the wrong decision based on it. And then there's other companies that, whether or not they're more gung-ho or more or have had experiences that have made them more confident, that are actually more willing to try. So I think from our point of view, if you're an agency, it's really important to like do that discovery and find out who you're working with and what's already been learnt. So kind of segueing from AI into, I suppose, what AI is really just helping with most at the moment, which is agility and agile research. We talked a lot about it. We have posters on rapid product testing and Sprint AI. Cascade is also an AI solution, which is basically about getting to preference quicker. What were you hearing from the client side people that you spoke to? What's driving the need at the moment?
I mean, Agile's still huge.
Yeah.
It's been talked about for a long time now, but even more so, I feel like Agile's so important within FMCG.
What does it mean?
Agile, I mean, it means doing things quicker, but also being smarter, I think, up front in your product testing. If I use product testing as an example, because that's where we do it, but helping our clients get to market quicker with the right product. I think, and just doing things earlier on in the product journey life cycle. Understand, fail fast, learn quickly, and then when you get to market, you've pretty much got a spot on product.
I heard somebody from an insight team from a large FMCG who actually said that agility isn't necessarily quicker at all, which is what you just said. Sometimes it's like getting it right first time. So it might be actually adding a couple of steps just so that when you get there, you're really confident, which is interesting. Like it's absolutely not just about taking timelines and squashing them.
I do think the mindset's changing. I think people are realising you can make decisions or do things based on a lower sample size, enough sample size to realise that that product's not going to go, or that product is going to go, in simple terms.
I think that's why agility and smartness go hand in hand, because just like what you said, just by taking a few steps back might actually get you there quicker in the long run by making smart, informed decisions that not necessarily just by rushing you would have got to in the first place.
Moving on. So I'm really interested that one night we went for dinner and I hadn't been to this talk, so I joined you for dinner and you were talking about quite a heated debate about emotions.
Yeah.
Which is kind of linked to the topic of beyond liking, but it's specific to emotions. And apparently it was like the biggest debate of the conference, or that you saw anyway. Yeah, there was
quite a debate going on around should emotion be replacing liking, and the panel were saying a lot of pros and cons about it, but I think the overall message that I got leaving that talk was that it can't replace it, but it's how can they work together. Liking gets so much stick that people are just bored of hearing if they like the products. Does liking actually relate to purchase intent? And I think the rise of emotions and what emotions can do is pretty much paint a completely different picture. But I don't think it'll ever replace liking, because I think, again, because of a lot of old school testing revolves around that liking, and that liking question is always there for a lot of KPIs. But it is true with what some of the panel were saying, that emotions can tell you something that not a yes or no liking question could. Someone went into a lot of details about us as humans, and animals, and every living creature has different emotions. So again, not just black and white. We all can see, hear, smell different things, and how that correlates to our brain and how it makes us feel. People on the emotion side really do believe that it has so much more capability to tell clients if people are going to buy their products, which ultimately, in the grand scheme of R&D, if your sales has to be up there. So yeah, it was just to and from, really, in the sense of how it is. And I think, definitely watch the space in terms of emotions, but the underlying thing is that emotions currently still can't be objectively measured.
Really fundamentally, if we could, we would measure impact on sales, because that's the only thing that matters. Like, we're trying to build products that sell, do a job really well enough that people buy them and try them and then keep buying them. So that's the ideal metric. You definitely can't measure that because there's so much else going on. So then your good questionnaire has got to sort of model back from the end outcome, which is why I find the debate and the passion so amusing, because you can't answer this question. Like, it depends. It completely depends on what you're selling, what the product is, what the marketing wraparound is going to be. There's so much. So I just, every time, I quite enjoy talking about it because people do get engaged.
A little case study during the talk showed people in different cultures smelling a fragrance, which kind of counteracted emotions a little bit, because people in the Netherlands had a very, what we would perceive a negative reaction to the fragrance, but liked it. And then someone in the Asian community had a completely different reaction, which you would perceive positive, but didn't like the fragrance. So it shows how, again, cultures and how we all react to things can't just be on face value, because what we use as our facial emotion towards something contradicts maybe if we like a product. So again, it's why it can't just be there as the black and white, as if you like something. That's why you need probably them to pair together.
So I think I'll go out on a limb and say emotions are important. They are. You don't need to do that much market research and study humans to know that you absolutely should try and measure emotions. Are they the most important thing to sales? Depends. Is liking the most important thing to sales? It depends.
We do know people buy on emotions. People buy on experiences.
Yeah. They also buy on practical reasons.
They also buy on practical reasons. So you've just got to make sure your questionnaire, like you say, is covering pretty much probably all bases at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for us, it's really good because we can do research on research, like
Yeah.
look at questionnaires and look at the liking, look at emojis maybe versus the liking scale and those kind of things to see what yields the most emotional
I was
results.
just about to ask you, what the toolkit that exists. There's a lot, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I think emojis is definitely one. I think there's probably times to use it and times not to use them. But yeah, definitely emojis. Facial coding, we've mentioned, time and a place for facial coding depending on the project. I think different ways to ask your scaling question as well.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to ask like very much to don't like very much. You know, you can ask, I love it, I hate it. Add a bit more emotion into your responses.
And modern day language as well is changing every single day. So your generic descriptors may need to change and get a little bit more with how different ages are speaking to describe things. It's just evolving all the time.
It is objectively quite strange that the industry is still using an old metric like liking quite so much.
You've got to take visuals into account as well. Like sometimes people can't express themselves via text sometimes. So maybe picking a piece of music or picking a colour or a celebrity or something, you know.
Or even a sound.
A sound is what, you know, what helps you describe or emotionally describe that product.
Yeah, I think
we do that a lot in fragrance.
Yeah, exactly. Coming a little bit back to AI, like we always must, it's the automated AI tools sort of open up a range of possibilities. Like the old world is you've got to get it into a scale because that's all we've got the ability to measure. Well, now we can do sentiment analysis on hundreds of open responses or the sounds, faces. So next 5 or 10 years will be really quite exciting there. There's a lot that could change. Okay, so imagine you're in an elevator and someone says to you, how was Pangborn? What did you learn? What are you saying?
I think for me, I will just take away from the conference that everything is evolving all the time. And I think in the R&D world, especially, it's such a great industry to be in because products are changing, trends and styles are changing. What we might have heard at this conference 5 years ago, we wouldn't hear now. Similarly, in 5 years' time, we're just going to be hearing so much different trends. I think the rise in social media, TikTok, lifestyle habits, like we spoke about GLP-1, it's just an exciting time to be there. And I think as an agency, we really fit in well, and we got to speak to a lot of our partners, clients, and learn so much from the scholars as well. So yeah, it's just a really good conference, and I urge anybody who ever gets the opportunity to go along.
Great, you're selling it very well. How about you, Kate?
Everything Ellie said. Definitely bots for IDIs, definitely brought that back to the office straight away. I think if you talk about something as soon as you get back from the conference, you know it's a thing. We're talking a lot about emotions. Running the rocky steps, of course.
Yeah.
But no, just love the conference. I look forward to going to it every single year, whether it's Pangborn or Eurosense, but look forward to it because it's always so different. There's always new topics, and I do think it is generally a very exciting time for R&D.
Yeah. Because it's a privilege to go, isn't it? And so Philadelphia this year, next time Mexico, Eurosense the following.
Eurosense next year.
Yeah. So these brilliant places you get to go to.
Yeah.
A final thought for me would be I just love where the latest trends and tech smashes into the practical reality of what businesses are able to and want to do. And I just love talking to people about that and hopefully helping them unpick it a bit. I think that's a big part of what agencies are for, is to help people figure that out and navigate it.
Yeah. I think one thing I didn't say is just the general conversations that you do have. You alluded to it, but just the general natural conversations you have with your clients and your partners whilst you're there that you don't get a chance to do on a day-to-day basis. And you just bond so much more and you just have those conversations that just don't tend to happen, and you learn a lot more about each other and the challenges that they're having within the industry. Yeah. And just get that free time to talk.
Get to know them outside of projects and outside of that every day, and get to know who they are.
Yeah.
And that's before we even get to the dance floor on the gala dinner. We won't talk about that. That's another podcast. So thank you for listening. I hope that's been interesting and useful for you, and we will see you again next time on Beyond the Yonder.